How during the COVID-19 pandemic, many IUL policies were credited 61.33% returns. Yes. In this episode, get ready. I'm going to show you what rebalancing your IUL portfolio means and how over 800 of our clients were credited 61.33% returns in one single year, March of 2020 to March of 2021, by understanding this concept. So you need to learn this, especially if you're looking to make money during the opportunities. When there's anxiety, there's opportunity. If you're an IUL agent, if you don't learn this, you're doing your clients a disservice. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for north of 5 decades, helping thousands of Americans optimize their assets. And when I say that, I mean increase the liquidity, safety, rate of return, and tax advantages on their serious cash so that they will not outlive their money, okay? And so I help people optimize assets and minimize taxes. My favorite financial vehicle, without question, is a property structured max-funded index universal life. So let me show you one strategy called rebalancing that we teach IUL agents, because if they don't learn this, they will only accomplish, if they're lucky, half of the results they could otherwise achieve for their clients, okay? So when there's anxiety, there's opportunity. My good friend Richard Rossi taught me that. And so COVID-19, the pandemic, there was a lot of anxiety. Would you agree? Okay. So what happened? In the year 2020, March of 2020, in one single month, the market dropped 30%. And so many people were panicking and so forth, and they were selling and what have you. No, that spelled opportunity to us. And so in March of 2020, when the market dropped 30%, I'm talking about the S&P 500, for example, we knew the likelihood that the market was going to be higher than that, quite a bit higher. A year later was very high or likely, okay? So my sons contacted 800 of their clients, and in one keystroke, they linked these clients, IUL, or a portion of the money in the IUL, to a 1-year point-to-point with no cap, what is called a threshold strategy. Now, what's a threshold strategy? We don't use those very often, except when there's certain opportunities. What is it? That means that they maybe take away the cap. There is no cap of 12 or 15 or 16%. So it doesn't have a cap, but they subtract a certain percent off of whatever the S&P, let's say, grew to. We usually don't use that because if the S&P grew 12%, you subtract 5 off of 12, you're only going to net 7. So we don't use it regularly because in normal economies, that doesn't make sense. But in March of 2020, when the market dropped 30%, we said, oh, this spells opportunity. And so my sons contacted their clients and said, hey, link some or all of your money to a 1-year point-to-point with no cap, a threshold strategy. So what were the results of that? Well, a year later, the S&P, March of 2021, the S&P was up 66.33%. Minus 5 is a net of 61.33, okay? So what happened? This particular client had, in March of 2020, $36,000 in her IUL, okay? Now, she took half of that, $18,000, and divided it up in thirds. About $6,000 went to this strategy, okay? She got credited 9% on that third. Another $6,000, she got credited 12% on that third. And another third, she got credited 7.25. Not bad. But on the other 50%, $18,300 of her $36,000 in the IUL in March of 2020, that got credited 61.33%. And it was worth $29,806 at the end of that year. Now, yeah, she was probably kicking herself for not putting 100% in there. You don't know, okay? But when you average a 61.33 and the 9 and 12 and 7.25, not bad. the average was over 30% for one single year. How about another client? This client allocated just $852,000 of what he had. He had more than that in his IUL, but $852,000. And in March of 2020, 1 year later, March of 2021, he was credited 61.33% tax-free. That $852,000 grew by $535,000. His account value after 1 year was now $1,387,419. Now, what if the market, the S&P, crashed 40% the next year after that? He wouldn't have lost one dime of that $1,387,000. See, the beauty of IUL, you lock in your gains. He wouldn't have made anything the next year, but he wouldn't have lost any of the $1,387,000 because you lock in your gains and you reset. Okay? If you don't understand that, watch some other episodes on this channel. The point is this. He was able to seize that opportunity to earn 61.33 net. The S&P went up 66.33 minus 5. That was the opportunity. That doesn't happen very often, but when you come in for annual reviews and meet with an IUL specialist, and I would recommend, if you're an IUL agent, that you come and learn in our coalition and network called IUL Insiders how to do this for your clients, or you're doing them a disservice, okay? If you're a client and you want to do this, you want to make sure you have an IUL agent that understands how to do what I'm talking about here, or you're missing out, okay? You're going to accomplish way less than you could otherwise accomplish. And so these are real results I'm talking about. This is the real world. When there's anxiety, there's opportunity. And during COVID-19, these clients were credited a great rate of return. This particular client, since then, this $1,387,000, this segment of his IUL is now worth over $2 million. And this is just 4 years later, okay? And so, folks, I want you to also watch one other episode where some clients, instead of 61.33%, got credited 158%. 158% tax-free. And so watch that episode. But the message is this. You need to learn about this and seek out an IUL professional that knows what they're doing, or you're missing out, okay? But if you want to learn more about how this works, I would recommend you study my most recent best-selling book, The Laser Fund, okay? Now, if you're a left brain learner and you learn by, charts and graphs and percentages, you would study this white covered side. And in here is a table of contents where you could study the first 4 chapters if you want to know all about the background behind why this is tax-free and how it all came about. If you just want the meat, you just read these, 95 pages, which is chapters 4 through 10, okay? If you want to go deeper, you can then read chapters 11 through 14, okay? But if you're more of a right brain learner, you learn more by stories and examples. You can just cut to the chase and flip it over to this book. And this book is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories of how it actually works with stories, okay? If you want to use your right brain and left brain, in other words, your whole brain, then I would recommend you read both of these books. But you can buy this on Amazon for about $20 plus shipping and handling. If you do that, thank you. But I'll gift you a copy for free. You simply click on the link below or go to laserfund.com and you contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game, but I'll cover the rest of that cost and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. And while you're in there claiming your free copy, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's options there for your investment. But you can also schedule an appointment to talk to an IUL professional with no cost, no obligation, that will create some illustrations on how a property structured max funded IUL works in your particular set of circumstances. Because if you don't get this done right, and I would recommend you talk to professionals that I've trained and I oversee, you're going to make a big mistake because you'll be lucky to earn 7%, which isn't bad, but you could be earning an average of 11%, okay? You could be earning an average of 9.6%. And people say, well, what's the difference between 7.2% and 9.6%? That's only 2.4% more return. 2.4% more return means 500,000 will double, okay, every 7.5 years instead of every 10 years. 500,000, instead of growing to 4 million in a 30-year period, will grow to 8 million, twice as much, just by earning 2.4% higher rate of return. That's the critical nature of compound interest, tax-free, and seizing opportunities like I'm talking about in this episode. So this is about you and your brighter future. Claim your free copy now and talk to an IUL professional.